Welcome to another episode of In the Know with Lolo Knows. Today's guests are the incredibly talented Selyna Alvarez and Sonya Alvarez, known as the Alvarez Sisters. These dynamic artists are not just DJs, they are innovators and community builders making a significant impact in Detroit's music scene. Now, in this episode, we're going to explore their inspiring journeys, the musical influences that shape their sound, and how they navigate their vibrant careers while balancing their personal lives. So, without further ado, let's welcome Selyna and Sonya to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Hola.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
I've
that
been
intro.
wanting to do this conversation for a while now.
We've been wanting to
Sonya,
have it.
you and I go way back. Okay.
Many moons.
We go way back. Like Sonya to me is, you have paved a way for female artists to come out and do their thing, like myself. When I saw you on stage for the first time in Akron and you tore that place a new butthole with the dudes here who brought you here from Detroit, and those guys, you know, they don't just respect or bring people in this area if you're not the shit. And Sonya, we I know you're you're a very humble, loving angel. You know what I mean? But you have made a difference, and you've made a difference in my life, and you helped me to be able to pursue my own passion. So I want to thank you for that first and foremost, sister.
Thank you.
Thank you for your energy and, dancing and bringing down the house. I mean, hell, I got good girlfriends that, come if you come here, they're coming to a Sonya Alvarez show for real. They already know how it's going to go down. And I love that. And that will be happening, sister. So don't you worry, okay? So thank you for that. I have to preface this show with that. And you've inspired so many other female DJs like your sister here to come through with her, Selyna, you're a vocalist, you're a DJ, so and you're into this whole marketing aspect. And you know what? I think you guys balance each other out artistically, and I think that's a wonderful bond that I'm witnessing here that's actually blossoming and evolving. And the fact that you're bringing your individual brands together is, I love it.
We couldn't be more excited, honestly. I feel like there was almost like a calm before the storm for many years with us in our adult life, with things, different holding backs that we had in our personal lives that kind of kept us apart. Almost to kind of like temper things, because we know that what we have to offer is so expansive and evolving that it's got some real firepower behind it, and a lot of times those things are what marinated the longest.
Yeah. And our sisterhood has developed so much more through the music. And I think, that's how we kind of were growing up with our dad, who's a
The
DJ.
whole family is neurodivergent, so there's a lot of nonverbal communication that is almost better for us to bond through, and that's a big thing.
How did you guys come up with that? Because obviously I'm Latina too. I'm Puerto Rican. So I'm sure our
Hey,
families are
Barifa.
very close in some aspect energetically, where that word neurodivergent, it started like resurface. It's been around forever, but it's like been surfacing a lot in the last 2 to 3 years, not that long. And for a Spanish family to, start understanding that, we didn't have labels, it was like everything was like always stuffed down. Was that what it was for you guys?
Yeah, totally. I mean, our dad, and both our parents, they're very interesting people, and God bless them for, raising us and getting us to the point that, we got to. But there was a lot of nonverbal, we kind of saw my mom always tidying up, always can never sit really still. We saw our dad kind of like playing with the music volume levels in the fucking car. And then like on the weekends for us, our literal parents would turn off the lights, put on a like a strobe light and have family dance night. Like the four of us just like, so there was a lot of musical nonverbal communication that was encouraged. Also, too, like growing up, like they just encouraged music. Like my favorite thing growing up was like the Spice Girls and performing, and video cameras came around like around the time that was happening for me. So like my parents would always film me doing dance routines and singing. And then my sister, one of her first big gifts ever was this drum set in the basement. And then our dog peed on the ground and ruined the whole moment for everybody. Remember that?
Well, and it went into our teenage years too, because my sister grew up loving like alternative rock music.
Yes.
So we went to shows at St. Andrews.
My dad always fostered that. Like there was an all ages show that my favorite band, which was, it was a very adult borderline-ish band, had an all ages show at St. Andrews at like 4 p.m. on a Thursday. Told everyone with like 16 hours notice, like limited spaces. They're like, get there, be square. I made my dad drive me as a like a ninth grader and my sister,
I was
who
in
was
third
grade, to St. Andrews Hall to meet my favorite band. And he was just with it, So I think where they weren't there supportive as far as like helping guide our actual careers or like, sitting down with counselors and like paying for college and like having a like path for us, they were very supportive of whatever artistic nature that we said we wanted to foster. And they kind of like let us do that.
So they had a significant impact on your musical journey. What was
Always been supportive.
Yeah. Well, and our dad's a DJ in his own way. He does like camping parties and weddings here and there. And I think even my mom, I remember her always utilizing music in emotional state.
Always.
Fiona Apple, Gwen
Sheryl
Stefani.
Crow.
I
Yeah.
love this. Now, how has, okay, leading up to that, let's talk about it. How has your hometown of Detroit influenced your sound? Who were your influences, like your Detroit influences?
So when
There's so much.
when I started DJing in Detroit, I had no idea that house music even existed. It wasn't anything that we grew up with, electronic music. Our experience with electronic music solely started and stopped with 90s freestyle.
Yeah.
So clubs for me, and you got to think, I'm 6 years older than you. So like clubs for me were Tiki Bob's and Usher and yeah. I had no idea that an alternative club existed. So when I found house music, it was like the tidal wave that smacked me in the face. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is really, really good. So from there, I pretty much just obviously, I wound up taking myself to the clubs just to experience the music and dance. And very, very autistically didn't talk to anyone or make eye contact with anyone, just stared at the DJs and it was super weird and stuff. So my first mentors and first influences were actually some pretty big, like worldwide heavy hitters as far as like Low Steppa, AC Slater, Golf Clap. So there's a lot of like UK inspired house that was the first things that resonated with me. And so those were some of my first mentors. Yeah, and it's pretty iconic, so I'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had AC Slater and we've had Golf Clap here. We've had you here, a few times.
Yeah. Well, and
Mentioning I could come.
you just
Huh?
had one of my mentors on the show, Versace James, because I think
Yes!
generationally, I didn't step into the scene until about 2 years ago. A lot of people think that I started DJing because my sister, and I'm like, well, yeah, but I didn't
It was
really
two
go out.
separate paths that got to converge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't really
Love
go out
that.
much until I started to leave a relationship and I go out and have fun by myself. And I had the privilege of just meeting Versace at this like random 4th of July party. And he was
Yes.
like, yeah, come out to my next show.
It's
So I
so
came
good.
out and then I got to see another DJ and producer named A-List. He used to go
Yeah.
by Hyde. And just the energy behind the decks that this man had, I was like,
Yes.
I want to do that because I always had fun making playlists, being a selector, and just generally, utilizing music as a way to share. I used to make
Yeah.
parts, all of that. but seeing somebody actually put energy behind a DJ set.
Must not have been one of my DJs.
Well, I went to your DJ set, but to see it in the eyes of,
there was a biases there.
but to see it in a way where
For transparency, her ex-boyfriend didn't like me. So Steve, when you watch this,
almost like, well, I think it was almost seeing a man actually put energy behind it, that masculine energy, I think was just like, whoa, like that. And those are my mentors to this day. And we've got some collabs coming out. So, you know, it took me a while to actually feel comfortable in Detroit. Now I live in Southwest and I love being an artist in the city because wherever else I go, I don't really feel as much home. You know, I feel a little out of place because Detroit really just has something different.
So you write all of your own songs. Did you start out with like being a poet? You know, how did that all come about? And like, you know, tell me about some of your singing over the years.
Well, I never grew up singing. I mean, maybe I did, but like I actually wrote a song in fourth grade, and this is so cringe and you know funny, but it was called Mashed Potato Freak, and it was about my crush. And I have this like it was like a pop punk song. So it's like that was always in me. You know, I always wanted to be a rock star growing up. But I couldn't read the music. So I just kind of gave up with drums and guitar. But I do write my own songs, and you're right, it did stem from poetry. As soon as I became single, I started writing poetry to kind of process my emotions. And it took me meeting one of my friends and sound engineers, Jesse Ketch, to give me the empowerment to realize I can learn how to sing. And I just went on YouTube and started doing vocal exercises and sort of lean into my vocal style, more of that down tempo, Nelly
I
Furtado,
love that.
Dua Lipa vibe. SZA is another influence because I'm not a belter. I'm more of a even Billie Eilish is more of a mumble down register singer, and I love it. So yeah, I put out one EP and I'm working on the second one right now. And I think there's been a lot of self-discovery within that aside from DJing. But it's
Yeah.
been tough to integrate the two vibes because I like more pop trap, indie pop,
Yeah.
liquid D&B pop. So I'm excited to see how it's all going to come together. I think garage is really where it's going to put the two crafts together.
I
So
love garage. It's good. Yeah. I would love to hear that too, Selyna, and I'm really excited about your journey. Now let me ask you guys about let's talk about your DJing like experience and everything else. Like I can say, Sonya, you've been here to the Akron scene. Was that like 12 years ago?
no, no, maybe
It
like
wasn't that long. Was it 10?
9 years
It
ago.
was within 10 years because I've been in my current
Yeah.
relationship for that long. So
Yeah,
it's within it was like at least 10 years.
it's around 10 years. Oh my God, I'm old. Yeah, it's about 10 years ago.
And I'm not saying, I'm saying that because that's how fast a decade went.
Yeah, that's true.
We also had like that whole COVID and how that kind of locked a lot of us in,
I can talk about COVID.
really shifted a lot of shit.
All right. So
Really put a lot of
we were,
energy out there onto the internet.
yeah. So DJs and clubs were like the first to close down and then the last to open up because of the public
Yes.
grouping thing. And so this was also so this was really tough for me specifically, and I'm sharing this because I think maybe some people can empathize or identify with this as well.
Yeah.
So there's many kickers to this. This was a social experiment, if you will, basically a mass social experiment. Using that word social, okay. In my autism, I struggle socially understanding things as it is. Then what happened is we were as DJs or whatever, as artists, musical artists, being the first to kind of like get chopped off of being able to work and do our thing. And then the last to be able to legally come back and do it. In my innocence, I kind of thought like, okay, well, if they're legally saying we can do it, we can do it. And it should be. but there was an undercurrent of unspoken social normality that was, even if they say you can do it, you're a fucking asshole for doing it. And I didn't get that memo because of my autism. I really didn't realize there was a lot of behind the scenes kickback of me taking gigs when nobody else would, the first legal gigs back. And that, like, a lot of people had a problem with me for that. And then also in the subsequent months, starting, you know, basically being able to monetize any sort of extra modeling content that I want. And even when I diverged the channels and created a separate modeling persona apart from music, people weren't really understanding in their brains that I'm a whole person. And I'm also not perfect. So sorry I didn't get the unspoken memo of you weren't supposed to DJ for a million years after COVID. So I think that was really hard. And then so basically anybody who didn't follow the unspoken rules perfectly kind of got swept away. And it led space for a whole new wave of DJs to come in to work with the promoters that would bring in their friends and everything. And then also too, being in this for so many years, I'm sure you can understand some of your greatest fans met at your show and then now they're going to get married. Now they have a baby and now they don't come out. So it's
Yeah.
like, that's awesome. But at the same time, it's like your fans, you have to keep captivating younger and younger fans. And if you keep getting older and you also, like me, I don't drink. So it's like, it's really hard for me without any social lubricant to kind of get in there and be relevant. So.
Let me, let's go back to the modeling stuff because the modeling stuff is what really created the controversy. I don't know if there was,
Yeah, it is. That's true.
it did. And it kind of got you, I was
I just got
watching
back
from
from
the
a photo
outside
shoot.
looking on in, you had gotten kind of shunned.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, in 2020, you were going to play movement.
Yeah.
You were already billed to go on the lineup.
I was actually, yeah, I was booked twice. I was
I
going to do
know.
the September one
Right.
too.
So, so you got judged
Yeah. I mean,
by the
we're
very
on a
people
stage.
you
We're going to
never
do.
thought you would get judged by, but you got judged. Let's
Mhm.
just be frank.
Well,
And
Plur's
it
supposed to
probably
be
left
very
you feeling
accepting.
like, at that point, you had to decide,
Yeah.
you had to really not care about what other people thought, because guess what? These very people weren't paying your bills. And they weren't also being a single mom taking care of your son, right? And
Yeah.
they weren't there to help pick you up when you were down.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
I lost
let's
all of
just
my
put every
friends.
card on the table that I was witnessing for you from the outside looking on
It's like,
in.
I saw it from Ohio. All your friends abandoned you.
Right. There's a lot of that. And it was hard. It was really hard to watch. And it was
Shout
very
out Car Power
hurtful.
for always being my friend, by the way.
You're
Well,
welcome.
and to
It was
add to the
very
narrative,
hurtful because you've never been in that. People cannot judge a situation that they're not in and that they're not comfortable in doing. What you're
I
not
think
comfortable doing,
yes.
somebody else
It's
is.
a
And it's
comfort thing.
okay for
And I
them to
think
be comfortable doing that.
yeah, a lot of people, I think that they're like look at it too as like, oh, she's just doing what she has to do, or you did what you have to do. But for me, it's like the modeling, it's more of a hobby. The music is obviously my entire life and my passion, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being interested and enjoying other things. And so it's not dental hygienist school, it's modeling. And yeah, so it's been interesting. And I do think part of it has to do with the fact that in any other city, I'm sure it actually wouldn't even matter, like LA, Las Vegas, New York, Miami. But because Detroit is in the Midwest and we are historically prudent and we're also the smallest big city or biggest small city, however you want to write it, everybody kind of knows everybody and everybody's inner insecurities and projections are going to basically ping pong an echo chamber, and that's why everybody kind of feels
It's
everything
not
so heavy.
easy for, let me just say this. You made a decision, you live by that decision, and you're currently living by that decision. And you know what? And everybody else can, they don't have to like it, but you're not out there hurting nobody. You're actually having fun doing it because you get to dress up. And for anybody who doesn't know about autism, a lot of autistic people really like that fantasy life. They love the cosplay. They love fantasy life. I should know because I raised a son who is autistic. So I understand that dynamic as well. So I thought I could share that with you, which actually it's like, okay, she's just in her fantasy land.
Yeah.
And
I
when
think
you,
too, the projections of other people, even I sort of fell into like the bandwagon mindset of feeling uncomfortable with it.
you're probably worried. The family, your dad's probably like tripping. He's probably, what the
Yeah.
hell is going on?
Yeah, but and I think, as time has gone on, we've seen it as more of a way for Sonya to express herself.
Mhm.
And I think anyone, has the liberty to do that. I express myself through creating content, through
Yes.
like making cute little videos about the festivals that I go to and living out my fantasy with the rave lifestyle and like just sharing that. So I think everyone has their own way of doing it. So that's definitely part of our lore is like I was against her, other pursuit of that. And I think that's really helped us come to a common ground of like respecting one another.
Amen.
Because that's huge within our Detroit community that
Yes.
people miss the mark on is just a mutual respect.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys have a healthy perspective on that and you didn't allow that to bring you down and your family
Yeah.
down. And your
Lolo, can I
family is still
share?
together. Your family's still tight.
Yeah.
And I
Tighter than ever.
hold that thought. The first time I saw your dad, I met your dad at Sharivari.
Yeah.
He was there
That's
for
my
her first,
daughter
I
up
was there at
there.
Sonia's first performance there. And honey, he was front and center. And he was
The
proud.
Mason
He
was
was proud.
the
I'll never
second one.
forget
I
that.
was wearing all pink with that one. That was the second. That was
Yes.
my
Was that the
favorite.
second one? That was the
It
second
was
one, wasn't it?
the first year that I didn't have a crowd, but it was like 4, 5, or 6 people. I took a picture of them, and then the next year I had a huge crowd, and I was like, "Look at this!"
See, look, she done did three, already like two others before that one. I remember that performance so well. Your dad just was there and he was so proud. I just needed to add that in there because when I'm witnessing these little tender moments, it's really nice to be able to, bring those into your attention,
Yeah.
from the outside looking on in. So just wanted to share that little thing. Please, though, Selyna, tell me exactly what you were going to share.
Yeah, well, I just kind of wanted to share sort of like generationally. So, like post COVID, she mentioned
Mhm.
that new wave of folks coming in. A lot of those folks are the people that I saw and inspired me. So, she gave me the blessing to DJ, which helped sort of reconcile our sisterhood.
And I named you.
Yep, honored me the name Selyna, which I love carrying that. Selyna Quintia Gomez. These are
I
very
love that.
Latina women. And just for about 3 months, I was sort of DJing at home on like a controller and a laptop.
Did I let you borrow my first one? All
Yep,
right.
yep. It was a broken controller. I had no idea what I was doing. There was a
That's
time,
how it starts.
right?
Yes.
There was a time where I had the opportunity to do this was the one and only open decks at Big Pink. And this was my third time on CDJs. So luckily I had all my tracks analyzed and I was definitely DJing. And I had my artist profile out there already. Third time on CDJs, I played in a room full of male DJs. I was the only woman. And that day was so integral to the trajectory of Selyna because I got to meet all of my DJ bros and they were like, wow, you did a great job. Like, who are you? And they have continued to nurture me. And this is something I would have never
I love
been
that.
in my past relationship because I just wasn't really encouraged to have male relationships. So all these bros that have really helped build me and having, my big sis, I feel like I've been so honored and grateful to have that support, but it definitely felt like I was entering in high school with a reputation of a sister that precedes me, so it
Yes.
made my experience harder because carrying my last name too, which why would I get rid of my real last name?
And then to add to that, the high school thing, it's like, yeah, making it harder for you because you got to understand there were people that were wanting to use her and give her an opportunity as an alley-oop to get back at me, which is so fucking weird. And she's had to go through like fake friendships because of this.
Yeah. Which
God,
no,
no
I
way.
think inherently, I didn't start music to make friends. I started music to explore myself and to express myself.
Yeah, it's the
And
most genuine.
Yeah.
way to, and that's why have a trajectory and not.
Yeah. But the friends that I have made, all these bros and even just some of my, DJ sisters, Juicy, Gina Maria, they helped me a lot in the beginning to really hone in on like, okay, I feel safe doing this. I started this when I was 27 years old. I'm late to the game. I didn't go to college. I don't have a ton of friends that are out here partying. I all I did in my adulthood was like yoga, so all I have is like my spiritual ecstatic dance friends, and
I love
sometimes I
that.
party, but sometimes, it's been harder for me to sort of gain
I started
the
DJing late too. I didn't start till I was like 24.
well, and I think that's okay to, be a late bloomer in life because you're really on time. Because I've never felt more myself discovering who I am within Selyna. I personally go by both of my names,
It
whereas
may change.
well, I'm
I
Alyssa,
used to too.
but Alyssa is, the
Wait till
human.
your head start. Wait till the one wrong person calls you Alyssa, and then you're just like, never again.
But I don't agree with that because I'm a Gemini. So I'm
Okay,
always
there
going
you
to
go.
have the two personas to where it's been really healing for Alyssa
Not me.
to discover who I am through, Selyna is the goddess that I channel through music. And we're just getting started. It's
Yeah.
only been a year
It's
and a
just
half.
getting started. It's
Amen. Amen to
really
that. Share some of your, I want to know about some of your memorable performances. You first, Sonia.
Oh, some of my most memorable performances. Well, I remember my first time on CDJs. I was at Hellraisers. Does anyone knows? Right? Is that what it's called? Hellraisers? The motorcycle club.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That was at gosh. I probably was there at 2:31 in the morning. It was on February 12th of
All right, what happened?
oh I was there and yeah, basically I was pretty nervous because it was an after hours and they were like, okay, you could play a couple tracks. This was Hugh from Golf Clap and I was like, all right, very nervous, but like it went so smooth. And then my most memorable, definitely going back to back with AC Slater and Boys Noise in a sold out Leland City Club was sick. And then opening direct support for Chris Lake at Electricity was amazing.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I
some of
love
the
that.
shows at the works, like out DJing Pete
Yeah.
Tong, he was DJing in
Yes.
that was pretty cool. Closing down the works after who was I don't know AC Slater and AC Slater and Justin Martin were watching me close down the works on my birthday one night at like 3 a.m. That was really cool. Opening for Dr. Fresh, opening for or closing for Anna Luno. That was really cool. Oh, all the times I've opened for Shiba-san, the Club on Strokes party. Oh, out DJing Walker. Anyways, sounds like I'm bragging, but anyways, there's a lot of stuff.
Good one.
We'll talk about my production next. Oh, probably the most recent memorable one was like last year when I did Arts, Beats, and Eats. And I got to DJ in between 311 and Chevelle. They had two main performances on like the main.
Oh,
It was like the act in between on the other side. It was really cool.
that
It was,
sounds awesome.
shout
What
out to
about you,
Paxton.
Selena? Tell me about some of your memorable performances.
So I want to touch on a bad performance that I feel like I fucked up on. Because the first time we played as Alvarez Sisters, we didn't have much experience DJing together. And
When
I
was our
remember
first show?
it was at Bosco.
Was that our first?
Yes. And I remember walking away from that being like, damn, I need to up level my skills. This woman can DJ. I just felt so novice. Load block wasn't on. So like,
Yeah.
just accidentally changed the track, just like these little things that we beat ourselves up on. So I remember my mentor watched me that day and I was like, never again will I have a bad performance that's like unsatisfactory, right? So I think some of my favorite performances after that
Big Pink
were
was fun when we did together.
yeah, we DJ'd a Big Pink together before Silly Girl Carmen, but I recently opened for Lumacy with the Big Fam crew,
Yeah.
and that was a full space bass vibe performance. And I think what makes me very unique as an artist is there was a time in my DJ career where I was like, there's too many house DJs in Detroit, and it's very hard for me to get booked. What can I do that's different that I love as well and I kind of went more down the drum and bass 140 deep dub bass vibe. And I got to open for AU5 at Electricity, who's very multi-genre, and I feel like I got a lot of amazing opportunity to just explore my sound. And yeah, I think just every performance is memorable in the right that I learn like about myself and more things on the decks each time. But we've got performances coming up that I'm excited to just
I know. I want to
explore.
know. I did get to. I caught your set at Summer Bliss,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
that was kind of
thought
all
you
over
would
the
even.
place.
I thought you would even mention that. That is a pretty
Yeah.
interesting thing
Well,
because you're a part of the Summer Bliss crew.
I was, yeah, I helped plan the festival. Truth be told, I didn't really like that set because I couldn't gauge what the folks were vibing with. You know what I mean? I think it's tough, even at Speaker Box where I started my DJing, when you aren't in tune with the people, it's tough to see, what your next move should be. So for Summer Bliss, I was playing house and I was like, I'm getting kind of bored. I want to spice it up and put something different in there. So I started playing some drum and bass, and then the people started to respond, and I was like, okay, this feels a little bit better. But I recently did a all house set at Speaker Box, and I enjoyed that too because I just went to Arc Music Festival and I fell in love with house music, and now it's nice because I feel at peace with doing both genres separately, but I also
Yeah.
can do them together. Now that I've learned how to go from BPM to BPM and really take you on a journey, going from 128 to 170. I never knew how to do that a year ago. So now it's been a beautiful journey to even just see more of the bass people get into house music and vice versa. Someone like John Summit who's throwing, bass remixes of his song, he's integrating that sound into the ears of people who strictly like house and electro. So it's
Yeah,
it's good
that's
news
so
for
too.
me because they're opening up to the bass a little bit more. And I think it's definitely harder for that to happen versus bass heads liking house music. But thank God we have bass house and we got a bass house queen right here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about it. But it's Sonya also had hip hop is a major part of your sets too, Sonya. And I
It
love
is.
the fact that you always bring those elements into your sound and everything. Um,
Yeah.
do you feel like that's something you will continue to do? How has your sound evolved over the years?
So yeah, I started out playing pretty much strictly house, deep house, soulful house, tech house, techno. Actually, most people don't really know I can play a really good techno set. Do love techno. I don't love pigeonholing myself. I feel like as an
Techno
artist,
after works though.
techno at Grenadier. My techno at Grenadier was really there was some times when Steven would from Building '01. We Love Detroit. He would they do shows, God, what is it now? I'm not sure. They do a lot of the underground parties, but yeah, they had me out for some techno shows and also, oh my God, what is his name? Oh my God, I'm really embarrassed. It starts with a Y. Um he's okay. He's a legend, but it's like a brain fart right now. He does the Yos. He does the show with Sheriff. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
okay.
Yeah. They would have me on some techno shows and but anyways, I digress. Yes, hip hop has been an awesome thing for me. I like to add almost it's really just like my preferences. So like I don't like to claim like, oh yeah, I do old school or oh yeah, I do this.
Right.
It's really just my preferences of like what hip hop or rap that I'm feeling. And I actually tend to like the originals. I'm not so much into mixing like remixes of stuff in. I will kind of take the crowd on a journey though, as far as like, I know you listen to this in your car, or I know you're gonna want to listen to this in your car. And like it's like, you know what I mean? Kind of like, and then you see them, they're like, oh shit, we didn't know she was gonna play this. So it's like a really like a curveball. And then also with you ask how my sound is evolving, taking that the love for the UK garage, the UK inspired house and the tech house and the hip hop. And I found myself recently in love with fucking UK rap. Hey yo. So it's like blending all of these things together. And so in my recent set, most recently when I DJ'd, I was putting some UK rap in there. And then also in my productions, I've noticed like after getting back from school and in school, I had a very specific vision of like what I've been trying to do sonically as an artist with my original music. And
Okay,
like I'm very, very like
talk
that's it.
about it.
It wasn't like, oh, I just want to make music and we'll see what it goes, or I want to make a couple different genres. I'm like, okay, no, I'm not sure exactly what you guys want to call this genre, but this is what this is what I want to make. This is the sound that I want to emit. So really working one-on-one with the coaches to figure out how I can like
Right.
metamorphosize my feelings into like an audio bite and get that so people can like feel me and hear me, really hear me. And I'm so pleased with the outcome of my course that I took in Ibiza. It was 7 days long. I went to a private villa with mix masters, so they only accepted 17 people from around the world at a time. They cherry pick these people. And then you stay there for 7 days and you have four coaches come each day, like all at once. So it's you get a lot of one-on-one tutoring, which I think is important for people who are more autistic or ADHD and have to actually learn hands-on and not
Yeah.
from YouTube. I know there's a lot of talk, even when we were at the event the other night, there was a lot of talk about YouTube teaching you. And unfortunately, I just don't think everybody's brain is the same. We don't all intake information and learn it properly like the
True.
same exact way. So like what may work for one person might not work for another. And I think it's important to find out what your strengths and your weaknesses are and just play off of them, leverage them, and
Yeah.
learn to use them, and not see it as a weakness, but see it as an opportunity and a way to attack something in a different angle. So that's what I did when I went to school, because I know that I hadn't picked up Ableton or anything in 2 years. And it was kind of embarrassing because I just really let life get to me. And there was a lot of mental blocks that
Of
just
course, of course.
to open it. It wasn't there in the cards. So when I went there, it was a whole refresh. And I have an EP that's done now that I'm starting to shop it. It's 3 tracks and they're all bangers, of course. And so we actually had an A&R session with Graham Sahara, who runs 6 labels underneath Defected. And he came and he listened to all 17 of our students' songs in full. We had a full listening session. And mine was fourth from the bottom as far as like intensity. And the last person had big room music. And then the person before that was like hard Australian techno. So like my shit was in there. And so I'm proud because like the music that I want to be making, I want to play it in my sets. I want the people who I'm like, I want them to be playing my songs. That's the goal. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah. So like for
Why I
me,
got into it. That's the
I
reason
feel
I
like
got into it.
I'm on
And I've
course.
been able to produce because, it's just, I wanted to play, if I'm playing my own music, I want everybody to play my
Yeah.
music too. I mean, what's the point of making music if you don't have anybody to play it
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
want
Well, I mean, the point of making music was always kind of really hard for me to grasp as like I'm just a true performer, and I think
Yeah, you
course,
are.
going to this school, it was helping me understand that not all performances are seen in that way. The performance can be in the art and the beauty of the way that you layer each sound into be an art piece that you submit. So like before dancing, singing, DJing, I don't sing. There is some of my original song, my original voice in some of these EP though. I'm not singing though. But I was a painter, I was an artist. So like I'm expressing visual art to you all the time. And then so when I started producing, it was really hard for me with the community because like artists, like when you're growing up, like you're kind of a weirdo. Like I took every single art class my high school had to offer, and senior year they're like, what do you want to do? I was like, art. Like you already took all the classes. Like I don't care, make me a separate class just for me. They're like, okay. And I was like, thanks. But you're kind of like a black sheep. So there was like I would never make a painting and then like have a crew of people I'd send it to and be like, what do you think I should change about this painting? Like that's not a thing. You're like, it's perfect. You know what I mean? So like when I started making music, I'm like, it's perfect. What do you mean edit it? So it was hard for me to like, because music is a creative thing, but there's also a science to what sonically fits and what doesn't. And I think just getting over that bridge of like, oof, that doesn't sound good, or like, figuring that out and using safe people, because not everybody feels safe when you're being vulnerable about something. So it's like me being so guarded and so hurt all the time and so autistic. It was really hard for me to like have people that I can be like, oh, what do you think of this? Or like even give a shit or like listen to their stuff and help one another. And going to school helped me foster an amazing community for myself. I love it. I love these people.
Now,
So
what's
I'm
first? How Selyna, your how's your production going? I know you said you have EP coming out. You've done some
Yeah,
collabs right now, coming up with Versace James. So
yeah.
how's that going for you?
I'm in a phase where I'm kind of shopping around different DAWs because I think for me, once the software clicks,
Ableton.
I mean, I've tried Ableton, but I want to try what else is out there, you know? I'm very
Bitwig.
techy. I've tried Bitwig too, to where I'm gonna test out FL and Logic and just see what sticks, only because I'm very techy, and once I have my software down in the process,
Yeah.
the rest is gonna be, you know, steamrolling ahead. I've really enjoyed shadowing and just seeing other folks process, and I love collaborating because I love creating together with my friends. And I think that the more I'm able to absorb and learn at this, you know, stage I'm in right now is really exciting because that's kind of how I started DJing, right? I just kind of watched my friends do their thing. I shadowed them. And then once it finally clicked in my brain, whatever, you know, spice of neurodivergence I might have, once it clicks, it stays. And I'm just very
Alyssa, I'm not autistic.
well, I identify as more
No, I know. I'm joking.
I feel like I'm a little more OCD to where I'm like, okay, I want to see all my options out there before I get married to one DAW and
Absolutely. You
one genre
should.
too.
You
Because I don't
absolutely
really know what
should.
music I want to create because my
It'll
vocal,
take time. I think the one thing I noticed when I was
Just
on
produce good music. That's all I give
yes,
a shit about.
and then you'll find your
I don't get
sound
caught up in
over.
these labels and this DAW and this thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Find something that works for you so you can just produce the
There
best.
was there was out of the 17 students, there was their age ranges from 22 to 50. And the 50-year-old was the guy who making the big house at the end. And like it was fucking sick. Like the guy was like, I haven't heard trance like this in 20 years. Like it was really good. It was trance. But anyways, it was very specific. I say all this to say the 22-year-old, his one feedback from Graham Sahara was that it was good, but it didn't have a signature sound. It sounded almost like everything else because he was very technically good and he's younger, so he's like learning and very quick with it all, but it didn't have a like this is me. So I think it just takes time to develop like what your sound like really is.
So you're being patient with yourself, Selyna, right?
absolutely.
As you
Because
should.
this for me is the next 10 years of my life. I'm in no rush. You know, a year and a
Good.
half, what I've been able to accomplish, sometimes I don't even know how I've been able to do it. Considering I've had to support
Brujeria.
Well, considering I've had to support myself financially
Yes.
and, you know, being a single woman, you know, post long-term relationship, I had to completely start my life over and learn how to even I run my own marketing company day to day. So even just
That's
balancing
wonderful.
entrepreneurship with my artistry and
Yeah.
then, you know, going to all these festivals and traveling and getting out of my comfort zone, it's been huge for me to just be a part of the culture, and really embed myself in house music, the, you know, more, you know, electric forest type vibe and be a part of Plur. I've really loved just like learning those foundational things and studying the crowd. So I feel like, you know, let's say this is school, right? I sort of had to immerse myself in the scene, become a participant, really learn to collaborate. And I feel like I've even influenced some of my mentors to get out of their comfort zone. The
You
song I
have.
have
You have.
coming up with Versace and A-List, it's a liquid drum and bass song, and they're both more tech house producers and progressive house. So it was really exciting for me to, you know, send them a vocal and for them to get creative with the things that I've been able to provide and see it all come together so swiftly.
Let me ask you some. Speaking of which, how do you uplift and support other artists in your community?
Yeah, I started off trading a lot of these artists' media. So what I'll do is I'll go take, you know, photo, video of them, nothing, you know, crazy, because a lot of media folk charge a lot of money for good photo and video. And I think it's
Mhm.
almost not accessible for some artists that are on a budget. And, you know, DJs don't really get paid a lot of money. So
Yes.
locally. So I was trading the media, and I think that's a great way to support my peers. And also just going and sharing their flyers, going to their shows, uh, just sharing them in my story, putting them on. And a dear friend of mine, his artist name is Holcalis. He came up to me and he's like, "How do you know everybody? How did you get into this? How did you make all these moves so quickly?" And I told him,
You're Gemini.
"Well, yes, I'm a Gemini, highly
No,
intelligent."
she could have said marketing baby. I'm a marketing baby.
But I told him, go around this room, introduce yourself to everybody here, and come back to me, and you tell me who you think the important people in this room are and who the people are making the moves around here. And I'll tell you if you're correct just based off intuition. And he did that, and now he's, making his own connections and making his own strides because it's a sense of humility. And I think that's where I
Yeah.
kind of make up for my sister's lack of sociability. I'm able to make these connections. And, I've made enemies along the way, and that's okay because I'm not for everybody. And I've always been more
Hey, you mean there's drama in the scene?
shocker, I know. But
You
I
mean
think that
the
was
plur
sarcasm.
ain't plurring?
I think, I pride myself on knowing that I'm, true, my heart is pure, and I'm always about the culture, and that's what
Amen.
I'm really here for at the end of the day is building the culture and the camaraderie of Detroit. We're all very creative, beautiful people. And, whether we're, having the same values or not, I have really deep respect and empathy for every artist out there doing what they love and sharing their story. And we
Even
don't
if I hate the music, I'm like, A for effort.
yeah, we don't all have to be kumbaya and love each other, but I think a sense of mutual respect is all I ask for. And I actually posted on Facebook recently. I said, above all else, just put respect on me and my sister's name because we really are out here making a lot of sacrifices to do
Yeah.
what we do to provide good entertainment for the people of our area.
I have something to say. So this kind of hit me when I was overseas and I was sitting there 4,623 miles away from my home and I was on an island with an incredible view and I didn't go into the beach once and I was staring at a computer for over 8 hours a day. I was the happiest I ever been in my entire life. And like it was making me happy that I was happy. I was happy that I went there and it wasn't like I went there and I was like, I was so happy. And I would like to point out, I we are all three of us, and then specifically just going over there and doing that. I am doing things that my ancestors could only have fucking dreamed of.
Amen to that.
Like it was hitting me
That.
so hard that as a woman of color, as
Yeah.
someone who's been a single mom for 11 years,
Hmm.
someone who is on the spectrum and has all these different challenges, um, I'm really doing it. I'm doing things like I traveled across the world. I made these connections and I'm working on art. And, and when I gave you the review of the place, I said, all of this is kind of the pinnacle of self-actualization because, it is such a privilege to be able to achieve self-actualization in this life. I don't think a lot of people understand that. A lot of people like they kind of glamorize the grind and all of this, but I think it's more spiritual than that. I think that we need
Amen.
to understand that
I
we're
agree.
not we're not human beings, we're spiritual creatures and we're here to evolve and to grow. And so for me, music is just a means that we can all feel things through, and this earth is so based in fear and trauma that I think we can use the vibrations of music to uplift ourselves and to connect with one another. And it's been so important. And so for me, like I was such a heavy hitter in the community as far as support. Like, oh my God, you need a show, call Sonya. She'll put you on a show. Like that
Yeah.
really was what it was. And so like when the favors weren't returned from me when I needed them, it hurt really
Oh,
bad.
good.
And so for me, like I felt without community for a while. And so going back over there, it refreshed my sense of value of community. And so
Mhm.
now I have more friends that I can be like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Or here's this. And so I think it's important to be able to have some community. I just think I needed to branch out. I think sometimes it's time to just find
Good.
more friends elsewhere. And so yeah, like there was a question the other day, or like, how do you find mentors or whatever? And I do think some of the mentors will be younger than you, some will be older, but it's a lot of praying and having a really pure heart. You don't have to know how you're going to do something. You just have to know why and just be real about it and be honest with yourself. You know, I was speaking with Barbara Tucker and she's like, so why are you here? Why are you doing this? And I told her, this is my life. This is everything for me. I will always be an artist. I will always be a musician. I will always be a performer. I will always be a DJ.
Exactly.
That is just it. That's just the
Oh
facts. And
my.
she's like, you know, I needed to ask everybody this because, you know, sometimes people they'll say like, oh, well, I'll do anything. It's like, no, I won't do anything. I will not.
Exactly.
I will absolutely not change myself, sell my soul, sell myself short, any of that bullshit. I will be patient and I will wait because your time is whenever God needs it to be.
We've got 5 more minutes, so keep that in mind. Let's
Okay.
get to, I just want to ask you this question about, we talked
Talk
about
about God. Sorry.
spirituality and like balance,
Yeah.
so like how are you balancing your life and your spirituality as well as, your, the busyness of everyday life?
Yeah, I think music keeps me grounded in self-accountability, that self-actualization, that self-actualization.
It's a tough word.
Yeah, that Sonya was speaking on. I think that, this the spirit of Selyna within me has really given me a sense of purpose. And it's felt like I'm peeling back the layers of who I've always supposed to I can't even talk anymore. Who I've always supposed to be. Like you catch my drift.
Yes.
And sometimes it's easier to do it through music than speaking verbally. And even dance, moving my body. And I just know that the spiritual journey and the musical journey are very much the same.
Mhm.
Um, I fantasize about the day that I get married and I have all my DJ bros.
Not me. Okay.
That I have all my DJ bros there at my wedding, so proud of me, and that we're turning up. And like, this is, like I said, this is the next 10 years of my life. And I fantasize about the day where, I'm gonna raise my kids and show them house music and, show them what mommy does on the big stage. And,
Oh, I love
I don't
that.
know what, like my sister
It's a
said,
fun feeling.
we don't know the when or the how, we just know like why. And I know that I want to create music right now. A lot of my peers, I'm 28 years old, they're getting married and having children right now. That's not for me.
If you never get married, you never get divorced.
But I know that's not for me right now. And people are asking me, "Oh, can I take you on a date? Can I do this?" And I say, "No, I'm married to my artistry right now. And
Yes.
I'm in a relationship with Selyna. It's like
Yeah.
I'm dedicating myself to her so that I can not continue to struggle for the rest of my 30s and be able to
Yeah.
thrive. And I think, ultimately as music artists, we are service providers. I call myself a sound healer. We're helping people move their bodies, move trauma through
Yeah.
their bodies and
Amen to
release
that.
so that they can
Yes,
feel
we are.
free, liberated.
Yeah.
And I want nothing else than to be able to guide the experience for people to do this at the rave and to just have fun, express themselves. It's truly, an orgasmic feeling that we all get to experience together. It's a very intimate thing when you go on the stage and literally show your personality and your heart. And to be able to have more of a positive reception than negative in this journey so far has helped me. It's good to have the negative because we need a sense of contrast. I don't think anybody, who is made it has said, "Oh, everybody's liked me and it's been an easy journey."
Yeah, I think if you're, you can't, yeah.
Okay. So
Anybody
we've
doing it.
got, before I take that same question to Sonya, tell my
You kind of
audience
touched on
where
it.
to find you on your socials and everything, Selyna.
Where do they find you?
Oh, find me. Selyna Alvarez Music, Selyna with a Y.
Mhm.
And I also have another channel called Festivalissa, where I share my experience at music festivals and sort of rating the qualities of the festivals and the hospitality and the fashion. Because I guess that's a special interest of mine is going to festivals and connecting with other people and being a part of the experience. We've got Big Fam coming up early October, and that's a local Michigan class. So not playing this year, but I'm excited to report my experience there. And I want to conduct some interviews there because fun fact about Alyssa, I hosted a podcast for 2 years. So I love
Awesome.
podcasting. So thank you so much for, allowing us to share our voices today.
Awesome. What about you? Go ahead. You finished yours before.
www.sonyadelvarez.com.
Mhm.
Sonya Alvarez Music on all platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify.
Yes.
And then, yeah, just be on the lookout for new music.
Yeah. Music's
Music
coming
soon.
out.
Any up and coming shows coming up, Sonya?
Uh, not yet. No upcoming shows right now, but there actually may be next month in Brooklyn and then the month after that in the UK. So
What's up?
that would be cool. Those would be
Yeah,
really cool.
that's what's up. You should
I'm
try
gonna
to
be there, so we're working on
for
getting some
real.
shows.
Okay, so what an inspiring conversation, ladies. Thank you, Selyna and Sonya, for sharing your journeys and insights with us today.
Thank you for having us. You're amazing. We love
Before
you.
we wrap up, don't forget to stay in the know by signing up for my monthly newsletter at loloknows.com. You can also follow me on YouTube at Lolo Knows for more episodes and on SoundCloud for all audio content. Your support means the world. Until next time, keep supporting the incredible artists in our community. Thanks for listening. Peace and love, and always dance it out.
Dance it out.
Amen, sister.
Thank you.
Hold on one sec.